everyone. We'll call this the Tuesday, September 5th, 2022 Committee on Aging meeting to order. Jean, would you call the roll, please?
Sure. Cheryl Hintz.
Cheryl just sent a message. She's not available.
Okay, so excused.
Yes.
Heidi Basford Kirkhoff,
Is
excused.
excused.
Julie Kiefer.
Here.
Julie Davids.
Here.
Bryn Seaman.
Here.
Patricia Jurovitz.
Here. That's correct.
Julie Maslowski.
Didn't hear from her.
Okay. Judy Ritchie.
Here.
Mike Ford.
Here.
Cynthia Thorpe.
Here.
Joanne Murphy Spice.
Here.
All right.
Thank you. And Cindy, Cynthia, since you're the new person on, you want to give us just a little snippet to let us know who you are? What you
Okay.
present?
I'm Cynthia Thorpe. I've been in the community since 1986 when I opened the Oshkosh Correctional Facility as a healthcare manager. I spent 30 years with Department of Correction as a healthcare coordinator throughout the state, so that's a whole story that no one wants to know about. What a challenge. I did retire 10 years ago. Prior to that, I had served on the Oshkosh Senior Board. So Julie, I'm not sure how many years you've been there, but I think the first year you were there was the end of my 6-year term. Mm-hmm. So it's been a while. I'm active in lots of things. One of the things is the neighborhood associations. I live in Menominee South area, and I've been a facilitator of that since it started. I'm active in my church, which is First Congregational, League of Women Voters, Women Who Care. So there's a few things that, and my spare time, I love Door County.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on. Are there any additions or corrections to the August minutes? If not, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passed. Are there any citizen statements that you're aware of?
No.
Public comments on agenda? Okay, then we can move right along to our presentation. And we have Officer Scott Zapata
Got it.
and Magic.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you guys for having us come to your meeting today. We're eager to share with the city everything that we're able to be doing here in the last almost year now. So starting in October of last year, the city started their behavioral health program. And it was an idea to work with the members of our community that were challenged and with behavioral health disorders and substance abuse problems, and work with them in a different way, keeping them out of the criminal justice system as much as possible and getting them into voluntary care as much as we possibly could and keeping them into the community instead of taking them out, trying to rehabilitate and then putting them back in, just to, again, have additional challenges of housing, trying to find work, so on and so forth. So we try now to keep the people that we're working with into the community and then get them into outpatient programs where they can visit with someone for a couple of hours, get the mental health care that they need, and then get them back into the community where they can continue to live and prosper. So Magic is our facility dog at the police department. We started working with her in November of last year, and it took about 2 months for her to train with me and to make sure that she was going to be a good fit for the police department, as well as she would be a good fit for for our family here at the police department, and that she would work well with us. We worked with Journey Together, which is a local nonprofit that works through the Oshkosh Correctional Institute. They train all of their service dogs at the prison, and then they try to get them to people that suffer with PTSD. So then in, I believe it was April of this year, we got a co-responder through Winnebago County. The co-responder works at the police department, through the police department, but is actually hired through the county and is a Winnebago County crisis worker. So Magic and our co-responder Kayla and I go to mental health related calls, and then we work with the subject that's in crisis. And again, our main goal is to de-escalate and then offer people services and try to keep them into the community as much as possible. We're really trying to minimize the amount of times that we make criminal referrals and bring people to jail, even though people that are suffering from mental health and are in crisis might have some criminal elements to that. We're really trying to stay away from that, and if they're willing to get help and seek treatment, we're really trying to work with them. Obviously that doesn't work all of the time, but that is our main goal. We're also trying to minimize people going into the hospitals and being on 72-hour holds, commonly known as a Chapter 51 hold. Again, when when those events happen, we're taking people out of the community, out of their homes, and when they get out of the hospital, they're experiencing more and more problems with their everyday life than sometimes what the solutions that we've cured with their mental health or have treated with their mental health. We have been on multiple calls. I couldn't even tell you how many calls so far we've been on this year. It's been a couple of thousand, where we've been able to go with people, meet them at their level, address their crisis, and then divert them to other resources that are in the community. Oshkosh is really prevalent with mental health resources. We have our local NAMI chapter that's here. It's centered right downtown Oshkosh. We also have the Winnebago County Crisis Center, which is up near the Sunnyview Expo Center, up off of Butler and Y. We have human services here as well as like the ADRC and APS. So we have a lot of resources that we're trying to keep people, again, in the community and out of the hospitals and out of the criminal justice system. Magic comes on calls with us, and her main job and main focus is to entice touch and to provide that calming, therapeutic, service that she's able to do. So again, she was trained as a service dog. Unfortunately, because of her personality, she wouldn't have made a good service dog, because she likes to interact with a ton of people, which for our purpose then is wonderful. But as a service dog, not so much. So a service dog, the only person that the service dog should want to appease and serve is the handler. So that would be me. As you can tell, she's already moved and trying to get pets and entice people to pet her. But how she gets people to calm down is, and a lot of you have already seen it here today when she was interacting with you prior to the meeting starting, she entices touch. So whether that's sitting in front of you and then using her nose to nudge your arm or your hand, or it's she'll lay down. If someone's like laying down and having a really bad day, laying down or sitting down, she will lay down right next to them and then actually lean into them, which, believe it or not, is something that some dogs need to get trained to do. Sometimes it's very unnatural for some dogs to want to lean into somebody that they don't know. But Magic will gladly do it. And again, she really, really wants to try to entice that touch. So she makes great eye contact with people. She grunts, which a lot of people really like, and it gets that dopamine running in your head and in your body, and it gets to be a really enjoyable experience and helps people de-escalate to the point where now we can start having a good conversation about what's going on, what you're suffering from, and then we can try to make a plan to get you into some services if you're willing to take them. Again, we want to also respect people's autonomy and their choice to live how they want to live. Who am I to say that someone living with a mental illness or going through a crisis can't live that the way that they are? they can. We want to respect their autonomy. We also, though, have to take into account the safety of our other citizens and everybody that they're interacting with. So that is a constant balancing game that we're here and trying to address. So does anybody have any questions about what we do or anything so far? No? Okay. Perfect. So also part of the behavioral health program, we do work with seniors and the elderly and other people that aren't able to care for themselves. So people that are suffering from dementia, people that have onset of Alzheimer's, and we try to work with the ADRC and APS to get them care. For what we've seen so far is that population really does like magic as well. Again, they want to sit and talk. They want to have that personal communication. They want to have that face-to-face communication. And magic is there to, again, calm, keep their mind on track, and then we can work with them and their families to get them into resources through Adult Protective Services or through the ADRC.
I have a question.
Sure.
I was real impressed with the number of cases that you responded to already. Are you keeping good data?
We are. So
What kind of data are you keeping?
So I want to try, again, I try to, when I keep data, we at the police department go through and we log all of our calls by case numbers. That helps keep people's information, personal information, kind of under wraps, because I don't, again, anything that I do at the police department is public record. So I want to try to keep everybody's personal information as private as I can. So what we do is we monitor day of week, the amount of calls that were going on, the types of calls that were going on. So is this a welfare check? Is this an emergency committal? Is this an alcohol incapacitation? Is it a Chapter 55, which would be the hold for where we would put somebody that can't care for themselves into the hospital and try to get guardianship for them? Is it a suicide? So on and so forth. Then we also monitor what resources that we're offering the person and where they're eventually going. So is that the crisis center? Are we bringing them to human services? Are we bringing them to the hospital? Are we going to solutions recovery? Are we working with the warming shelter? So on and so forth. Then other information is whether the behavioral health team is responding, aren't they responding, how many officers were relieving during that time, the time that it takes for an officer to handle the call, whether weapons were involved, whether negotiations were involved or not, self-harm, okay, uses of force by the police department or officers, force used on officers by the subject. So are our officers staying safe, and is the person staying safe? How are we working with them, and how are our tactics at the police department doing? Because that's really important as well. Because again, our police department has tried to take a stance of de-escalation and really trying to verbally de-escalate a situation before any use of force has to be used. And we take that very serious. We think that mode of operation is not only the best for the police department, but for the person that we're working with and for our community. We really want to try to give everyone the best opportunity to comply and again, to seek help if they're willing to take it. Any other questions?
Do you work in the school system?
So we do, we can go to the schools. So Magic has 4 certifications. She's Canine Good Citizen, Advanced Canine Good Citizen, Urban Canine Good Citizen, and is considered a trick dog.
You say trick?
A trick dog, yeah. So she can, so on a list of like 30 or 40 tricks, she has shown that she can do 10 of them consistently. And so we can demonstrate some of the tricks that she can do. Again, it's more of an interaction thing, especially working with kids. Kids love when she can do tricks for them. They can tell her to do something and she listens. That just really engages them. But with those certifications, those certifications aren't used so much here in the state of Wisconsin, but in other states where there are bigger cities, those certifications can get your dog into different restaurants and different areas of the city. But we do go into the schools. We are really active in actually Oshkosh West Coffee with a Cop. We try to go there every single month to interact with the students there. And the cafe that they have at the school is very welcoming for Magic. They set up a little table for us. We greet students on their way in, ask how their day is going, allow them to, again, pet the dog, interact with the dog as much as they want. And it's, again, a 1 or 2 minute interaction that we hope really brightens their day, and something that some of the kids need, because we realize that, you know, like everybody else here in this room, we struggle. We've had a lot of struggles in the last couple of years with work and with our personal lives. And if it's, you know, if you have kids, you have problems, you know, sometimes you have issues with your kids' health, sometimes you have car problems, sometimes you have appliance problems or house problems, financial problems, whatever they may be, problems that you keep private, your private life, but still things that weigh on your shoulders and weigh you down. And if you can have in the morning a moment to just relax and put a smile on your face, hopefully that will make your day a little bit better. So, any other questions?
Are you allowed to, are the hospitals working with you, like with the emergency room and some of the situations that come in?
Yes, so both Mercy and Aurora are very welcoming of Magic as well. Not only to interact with a patient that's there, but then with the ER staff. Again, that's a profession that is really, really high on my respect list. They deal with a lot of people all the time, and they are busy doing life-saving measures all the time. So they encourage us to bring Magic in, work with their staff, or work with people that are there. Aurora has a SANE nurse or a SANE program where people go in to get forensic evidence from a sexual assault. Again, a very traumatic situation. But they have a room that's set up somewhat like a living room where an initial interview takes place with law enforcement. So at that point, if that happens and the person is wanting Magic in there as a piece of support, Magic can go into that initial room with the person while we're talking about the crime that occurred, and really give that comfort again. And Magic will just sit there and just again offer support, offer her head to get pet, and if she's not getting pet, she'll nudge and she'll say, "Hey, don't forget about me over here." And again, try to give a little bit of support and comfort in a really, really traumatic situation.
Who takes care of her when she's not on the clock?
So I'm her handler. So when she is not on the clock, she is a normal 2-year-old golden retriever. She has 2 cat brothers at home, and I have got 2 kids as well that love to interact with her and keep her personality the way that it is. But she stays home with me. I'm responsible for her, to take care of her, get her to the vet, make sure everything's up and up on her shots, keep her physically active. And again, that's also a family effort. The kids love to take her outside and play and do all that with her as well. So again, we're trying to keep her personality light, and we want her to want to interact with people. So should we show them some of your stuff?
No, trick.
She's very treat motivated, so so anytime that you have a treat, she's going to listen really, really well. Her other forms of motivation, second, are actually like comfort or petting. So she will stop wanting to get pet from anybody if you have a treat. She's like, I want to eat. So and then last is play, but she likes to play in the morning, and that's about it. So once she gets up, oh, I know, I see you. Okay, come here. Wait. Thank you.
Good dog.
Get closer. Get closer. Good girl. Oh, good girl. So part of being a service dog is obviously alerting. So different service dogs alert to different things. So some service dogs are for people that are going to be experiencing like a seizure or have a diabetic issue. The dog can smell if your blood sugar is really low or really high. So every service dog has to alert their handler in a way. So Magic can alert. So Magic, poke. Poke better. Come on, poke. Poke. There, that's good girl. So that would be her alert. Again, it's nothing extravagant. It's something that's really, kind of small, but would tell me, hey, something's going on here. Touch, touch, touch. Okay. Front sit. Come on. Good girl. Finish it. No. Oh, good. Up. Sit. Okay, I know. Pause up. Oh. You right? Off. Off. Yep. Come on. I don't have any in that hand. Off. Good. Oh, I hear you. Good. And then she's pretty smart, so when she shakes with the correlating paw that you give your hand to. So, paw. No, other one. Paw. Paw. Good. Paw. Good. You have another one? Wait. We'll see if she'll work here. She's trained, believe it or not. Part of her training, we went after we walked around and did a lot of training with Journey together, like out in stores. She had to go into Culver's, sit underneath our table for about an hour while we ate. Can't bag, can't do anything, and just had to sit there. So she's also trained to not pick up food on the floor. That can sometimes be difficult for her. So we'll see if she'll do it. She don't go anywhere. See that? Yeah? I know you see it. Magic here. Oh, good girl. Okay, go get it. Good girl. Good girl. Yes. So again, when we're working with someone out in the public, it's really important that, one, they want Magic to be there. If they have a dog phobia or they're not going to keep Magic safe, then Magic's not going to get deployed at that time. Perfect example of this is at one point this past spring, we went to one of our frontage roads. There was, I believe, a 15-year-old female that was clearly in crisis, trying to get hit by a car. Was not cooperative with the initial officers, wasn't cooperative with anybody that was watching over her. And so officers got there, they called us out and said, hey, we need your help. So we got out there. Just the fact that I was a police officer and Kayla, my co-responder, worked for Winnebago County Crisis, she said, nope, I don't like you guys. Boom, right then and there. That time she was still pretty worked up, but we asked, hey, if we brought Magic out, would you want to pet my dog and interact with her? And she said no initially, but her voice changed. Before, when she was talking with us, it was very forceful, very blunt. Nope, nope, nope. And then when we started talking about Magic, her voice changed. It got a little higher. She still said no, but it was a different no. And about 2 minutes later, we re-asked about the dog, and I said, hey, do you want to see Magic again? And she said, yeah, I really do. And I made sure, I'm like, are you going to be safe? And is Magic going to be safe? And she said, I'll never hurt a dog. So she was willing to hurt herself, probably willing to be physically aggressive with another person, but not of a dog, which speaks highly about, us as a human race, about what, animals do create something in our hearts that, hey, this animal, this creature I'm responsible for, it's not going to hurt me, I shouldn't hurt it back. And so Magic was deployed, and within literally 5 minutes, we could take cuffs off of her. She was willing to go back to the facility that she was coming from. She was willing to talk with mom, make a safety plan for the day. No force had to be used. It was all compliance, which was great. And that's what we go for right there. That was like, if I could take a scenario or a scene that the program is made for, that is what we really try to accomplish. Because we don't want to hurt anybody. We don't want to use force. We want compliance. We want to help these people. And again, not to say that if you live with a mental illness or are going through a crisis that something's wrong with you. We all experience mental health problems throughout our life. Whether it's depression, when you're grieving a loss of someone, anxiety when you've got a lot going on in your life. We all experience it. Our bodies are able to regulate it in different ways. And sometimes if you're not able to regulate it and there's just too much all at one time, sometimes people need some additional help, which we're there for. Okay. Oh, sorry. Good girl. Any other questions?
Were you part of the negotiating with the incident on the bridge last week?
We were.
Okay.
We were.
Okay.
Yes. So that incident, we were still working. So it wasn't a full negotiator call. So not all of our negotiators came in. There was a negotiator though on patrol that day. And then I'm a trained negotiator as well. So I took the second chair, which it's called, and I support the primary negotiator at that time and help him gather information on the person, the likes, the dislikes, and then we try to, again, work through the problems. So that one took us about an hour and a half.
And it saved a life.
We saved a life. He got diverted to the crisis center, so he's there right now.
And then, do you go out with Kate Mann and John Holland with some of their outreach to the kids and the other community events?
We do. We do a lot with Kate and John. They're great. They're both really great, even though one's a firefighter. We do. We go out. Again, we call that community-oriented policing. It's one of the mission vision values, part of the mission vision values of the police department, to know us before you need us. And what a better way than to have Magic and know about our program, but our police department, have a really good interaction. A lot of times kids are afraid of police officers for one reason or another, and when they are able to see that, hey, this is a police dog and these are police officers, and they're able to have a really good interaction with them, it makes the world of difference in people's lives. So.
The outreach that those two do, I happened to be in a store, and there were a number of young children, and to watch them, there's Officer Kate, there's Officer John, or Fireman John.
Firefighter John, yeah.
He's huge in the schools. He does a wonderful job.
Yes.
That's, when we go to the school, it's when Firefighter John is there. Everybody knows about him. Everybody's excited. He does a wonderful job.
And to watch these kids, they're not afraid of. They're running up there and looking for attention. So the community policing that's being done, the community outreach that's being done, is just outstanding, because I don't see and hear that in some other communities. So I think we're doing a really good job. I think you guys are doing a really good job.
We appreciate it. Like I said, it's about knowing us before you need us. It's about knowing what resources are available and what services that the city provides to people, because a lot of times the behavioral health unit gets called before patrol does, which is great. That's what we want. We want people to use us and ask us questions and seek help if they need it. So even if it's not a law enforcement based question. So
Are you going to be visiting the State Street Center with some type
we
of
go
regularity?
there all the time.
Good.
We go there all the time. We love to go there. We haven't been there actually in probably a couple of weeks. We've been unfortunately busy the last couple of weeks for whatever reason, but we haven't been able to be there. But we normally try to get there once or twice a week.
And that's a great new facility also, or program.
It is wonderful. It's a great place for people to go and get support if they don't have it elsewhere. Absolutely.
With the data and lives saved and all the good work, you're one person and one dog. Is there a thought of expanding the program, or no, too early?
That would be a great question for for our administration. I don't
Okay.
know at this point. Obviously, the city has a responsibility to have law enforcement officers on the street. We need a certain amount of police officers on the street. Obviously, taking me off the street to put into this position, while it's very good, very beneficial, to do another one, where are the resources going to come from? So that's that would be a wonderful question for our chief. I can't answer that though right now, unfortunately.
Are other cities doing this?
So we have gotten calls, I bet you, from at least 15 to 20 other law enforcement agencies within the city saying, or not from the city, from the state, saying, hey, we're looking to do something like what you're doing. Tell us about your dog, where'd you get her, all this stuff. So other places are starting to do it. A lot of them are trying to get dogs in the school, like it was previously mentioned, which would be very beneficial. A lot of, I think right now, I know at West, they do have like a therapy type dog that comes in with one of their counselors. So the schools, our schools are already starting to look into that and take that into their own hand, because again, we have a lot of schools here in Oshkosh, and we are, again, one team, and that would take up a lot of our time, which it would be time well spent. It's, again, the resource though. We need to try to spread this out and share it with as many people as possible. So we've even gotten calls from like Oregon, Washington State, asking about our program.
Yes, I was wondering, is there already a really established program? So, following up on Brendan's question, like a city our size, what would be ideal for the number of officers, dogs needed to really?
This is a brand new concept. There's nothing there. We're the first behavioral health officer in the county. It's not even in our city, but in our county. Outagamie County has 2 behavioral health officers, one for the county, one for the city of Appleton. They have a canine that runs similar. I believe the dog's name is Edison, but it's with victim response. So when a victim of a crime gets re-spoken to in that part of the investigation, the dog is deployed to help calm the person down and if it was a traumatic event. So, but I couldn't tell you what the, hey, Milwaukee being this big has this many, Green Bay being that big has this many. We're trying this. We're about a year in, and just under a year in, and everything gets reevaluated at that time. So obviously, the busier we are making calls for service happen and doing community outreach and follow up and all of that, the more, I guess, the more successful our program will become. So.
And I believe you have a fundraiser coming up.
So the Run with Magic, yes, it's coming up actually this Saturday. It's actually not for Magic, it's for our police department's mental health committee. So our police department has multiple officers and non-sworn individuals, part of this mental health community that focuses on the mental health and physical well-being of not only our officers, but non-sworn staff and their families. So they assist us in, eating correctly, proper stress management, having a workout facility at the police department with decent equipment. We have I don't know what her official title is, but it's similar to like a therapist or a counselor that comes in and is available for officers after critical incidents. Or, again, she comes in, I believe it's at least once a month, to talk with officers. Again, if you're having something going on in your personal life, she'll ride with you. She'll ride in the squad with you. You can talk all shift if you want. Or you can meet with her in like an office for 30 minutes just to talk and release some of the stress that you've got going on. So that run, even though Magic's face is on it, goes to that. And Magic is part of that too. Magic is available normally at our police department 24/7. Well, when I'm there, excuse me. And so I have an office. I have a baby gate at the office. People are are welcome to come by my office at any time, pet, interact with her, play games with her, feed her treats, do whatever they need to. And if they need 10 minutes with Magic without me in the office, and they just need a good cry, or they need to just interact with her without me being there, I don't take any offense to it. They can kick me out of my office.
Any other questions? Well, thank you, because this
Absolutely.
was
Thank you.
really very interesting, and
Positive.
having worked with an agency that dealt with a lot of mentally ill individuals, would have been nice to have it 15, 20, 25 years ago with some of the things that went on.
So we appreciate your time. Thank you for all your work here as well. And we know it takes everyone to run this city, so we appreciate it. Right? Okay, good girl. All right, come on.
What a beautiful dog.
No.
Okay, moving on, any old business? New business. Our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, October 4th. It also presents a little bit of a dilemma. That is also the day of the Senior Expo, and a number of us will be there, including the Committee on Aging. So how does everyone feel about canceling our meeting for that day? And then our next meeting would be the November one. Does anyone want to, is there any discussion? If not, a motion to cancel the October meeting?
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, then we will plan on seeing all or most of you at that, as well as our folks in the community. This probably is not a bad time to actually say, they're anticipating about 85-plus exhibitors and lots of different vendors, presentations, resources, prizes, blood pressure checks, flu and vaccine injections, and hearing tests. And Joanne, want to talk about what you're doing there?
I have no idea. No. No one has reached out to me.
Ooh,
Am I doing something?
I thought Tai Chi.
Oh, that'll be fun. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Goody. Yeah, no, that's fun. I'll do that.
There are a number of demonstrations that are listed here. The YMCA Silver Sneakers, the Health Department Tai Chi
That's me.
for fall prevention and arthritis,
That's me.
the Senior Center with Alec Jensen for strength training, and I'm sure that there will be more as the date we get closer. But we definitely will be encouraging the community to attend, and I know Pat just asked for information, so I'll give her the contact on that also. Okay. So then, moving on to other business, upcoming community events and other information for seniors. Julie?
Sure. Learning and retirement at UW Oshkosh, that semester actually starts today. However, there's always time to join. I was also going to announce on behalf of Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhoods that the next Rock the Block, which is a partnership with Habitat for Humanity, is in Menominee South, which is Cynthia's neighborhood. Applications, if you live in that neighborhood and you would like to have your home considered for a rehabilitation project, those applications are due October 15th. So you could really contact either organization, Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhoods or Habitat for Humanity, for more information on that.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for her? Okay, Julie Davids.
September 14th, Home Care Assistance is having a picnic on the green. You guys are all welcome. That's from noon until probably 6 p.m. So we're just going to have I imagine we're gonna have like hamburgers and brats and that sort of thing.
Excellent.
What was the date on that again?
September 14th, from noon until dinner time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, last time we had a brief discussion or questions about wheelchair ramps in the city, so I did follow up with the planning department about that. I was informed that their guiding philosophy is the American with Disabilities Act. That said, there is a zoning approval that is required for all ramps, but you only need a building permit if you have a home that was built after June 1st, 1980. There's actually a nice little packet of information they put on their website about this specific issue that people can look up. And bottom line, they want to make sure that people can get wheelchair ramps if they want them, and make it as simple as possible for the builder. So please do reach out directly to the planning department if you want to do that. I know that some folks had some bad experiences 10, 20 years ago, and they wanted me to advertise the fact that there's been changes made since those experiences. So please reach out.
And thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I did provide Mike with some screenshots of
Yeah.
some of the social media, because I mean, as much as I had been asking questions over the years, I apparently didn't hit the right spot to get the information.
Yeah.
But getting that information allows us to also let the community know that it should not be as much of a challenge as is perceived. But also, many of the homes are older than that date,
Correct.
and that does present a challenge, so.
Correct, and they did. I mean, in my conversations, they were clear that you can get one if you need one, and they're willing to work with you.
Good, thank you. That was some really important homework.
Extremely.
Okay, Pat.
I have nothing to report, other than the Gambling Council wants to get into the senior expos to just make it awareness, for that there is a problem out there sometimes, and there's help if you have one. So,
Thank you. Joanne?
Well, I'm going to be at the Time of Your Life Expo doing Tai Chi. October 4th. I did start at the State Street. So this week will be their third week. And it's very small numbers, but the people in it are really enjoying it. So hopefully it will grow because it's just a drop-in center. And they like the deep breathing, they like the guided imagery, they like it all. So hopefully I plan on continuing to do that so that word can get out, word of mouth and stuff like that. It's fun. It's a different clientele for me. Also, we are training 4 new people for Tai Chi for arthritis and falls, since falls is just such a huge issue as we age. And the person who's doing it for Oshkosh is Mark Weisensell. So he'll get out in Oshkosh and teach Tai Chi for us. So we're really excited about that. We're still doing vaccines. We're still testing. We're still doing all that stuff also at the health department.
Thank you.
I don't have any updates today.
Cynthia? Anything to?
No.
Yeah, I have a couple things that Joanne forgot about.
I knew you would do it, Jean. You always have my back.
We are doing a stepping on class starting in October, and then Walk with Ease starts September 12th. And then in October, we are also kicking off our falls risk assessments, and that is going to be part of the program that we're doing with the fire department, and that's with the Biodex machines. So we do have some people that are registered, and once we get the information from the fire department, we'll start that as well. So this newsletter does hold a lot of those activities.
Okay, thank you.
Can I piggyback off Jean quick? 'Cause I just want to point out the Walk with Ease is it's a exercise class for people who suffer from a lot of arthritis pain, because the thing about arthritis is it hurts, but so you don't really want to move, but movement is what will help it. Exercise is what will help it. But it's also a really, really good class for somebody who is new to exercise, which sometimes is a lot of our seniors that have never had formal, it explains the components of exercise and helps you develop an exercise program, which sometimes people are not sure what that means. So there's that educational component, which is really nice.
Okay, thank you. Well, I have a couple of, I think it's 3 things here. There's been a lot of, again, on social media chatter about notary service. And since 21, the library has offered notary services. And so all you need to do is go to the library's website. There's a section that talks about the notary service, and you can schedule an appointment. There is no fee for it. And then they do offer, and a lot of us already know this, but folks don't necessarily. You don't sign your documents ahead of time. You don't take them in and expect to have a notary do it. That they have to witness it. You need to bring a photo ID, and it says documents cannot be notarized unless the person signing presents photo ID. You bring your own witnesses if the document needs witness signatures. And having a document notarized does not verify the information in the document is true or legal. It only verifies that a notary has witnessed it. One of the things also is, since the federal government is no longer offering the free COVID testing or test kits, Wisconsin residents can now order up to 5 online, and that went live last week. It's sayyescovidhometest.org, and you get a package of 5. I went online the first day that they were offered, and the next day they showed up outside my door, which really surprised me, because when I did the federal ones, it took weeks. So certainly consider that. And then the other one,
Can you say what the
as-
website is again?
what's that?
Say yes.
It's in yellow.
Oh, okay. I can pass it to you,
Yeah,
because
thank
it's a
you.
little bit longer than,
Okay, thank you.
And I can send that article out to everybody. As we're working with aging, life expectancy in Wisconsin dropped by 1.6 years in 2020. Likely because of COVID, and also the rise in the unintentional injuries like drug overdoses. It said the life expectancy in 20 was 77.7 to 80.3 years for women, and down from that. And then men was 71.9, down from 79.3. And it had been, the life expectancy had been rising, and due to COVID and all these other issues, it's been declining. So it's a lot of interesting things. The pandemic has done a lot of things to us, age-wise, health-wise, and other ways. So just a thought to consider. Any other comments or information to be shared? If not, I will take a motion to adjourn until our next meeting in November.
What was the date of the November one?
Is that election day?
Yes,
no.
it is.
Oh, yeah.
Which brings up the fact that some of the polling area, or some of the voting areas have changed, so always check that. And disabled persons,
No, it'll be November 1st.
November 1st.
It's always the first Tuesday of
First
the month.
Tuesday.
So November 1st.
Within the state, there's been some updated information that disabled persons can have some assistance with their ballots. But I know that there are a number of seniors that have been concerned that they have the absentee ballots, they're used to having someone to either drop it off in a drop box or at the polling place or whatever. And that still is not allowed. But certainly your neighbor should be able to at least put it in the mailbox for you. Because mobility is an issue. You don't have to be completely disabled to still have those mobilities things. So, and keep in mind, also you can do early voting. Here in the city, you come to the city clerk's office. They've got a great setup. And just to prove that how safe things are, there is the camera that records every person that comes to the counter. So you're showing your ID and you're on the camera. That is not overkill. That is protection for everyone. Right, Mike?
Yes, indeed. They do a very good job down there.
Yeah. Okay.
Motion.
So with that, do we have a motion to adjourn until November 1?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll see a lot of you at the Senior Expo. Thank you very much for coming today.